Salam everyone. Recently there was a debate between Brother Daniel and Christian apologist Micheal Jones aka Inspiring Philosophy about minor marriage or the so-called child marriage. Micheal threw a bunch of random research paper to try and prove why minor marriage is harmful. However, as it turns out, he either lied about most of the papers or completely misrepresented them and what they actually mean. In this video I explain why his so-called evidence and argument was bad. This is an highlight from a recent live stream me and Brother MENJ did when we reviewed the debate, so I hope you guys enjoy.
This study, that is marriage under 18, found that child marriage was significantly associated with delayed antenatal care, miscarriages, preterm delivery, low birth weight, health problems in newborn babies, faulty feeding practices, lack of knowledge regarding family welfare methods, and health implications. They note child marriages lead to serious health consequences. It also...
Bullshit, fake news.
You are fake news.
Okay, let's go to a little bit of statistics.
Isn't that naturalistic fallacy as well?
Yeah, that is also naturalistic fallacy because again, like this. Okay, let me show you why this fallacy is problematic. Okay, so let's look at some different variables in this equation. So this study that you saw was from India, or more specifically, it's from Gujarat, right? Well, here's a variable that you need to take into consideration, because for as far as we can see, all you've established is correlation, not causation. So what are the variables? One, in India, in many cases, people suffer from malnutrition. Now, why is this important? Because when you're a mother, if you're lacking nutrition, it's very much possible that will affect your health and affect the health of your child. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very important factor. And this is the point. A lot of this kind of like nonsense data he points out are from poor countries.
Yeah.
So this scam artists, like the UN or human rights, all they do is go to those poor countries, living in very bad conditions, without any access to healthcare, without any access to food, and they said, they cannot have children, they have problem with children, therefore that must be young marriage, minor marriage is bad. But it doesn't follow, because what about because you completely ignoring the fact that these are poor countries. I mean, how do you know that these things are also common in richer families? Because
another version of basically this is another version of the naturalistic fallacy, right?
Yeah. So basically, no, this is actually a correlation with causation fallacy.
Okay.
So basically, all he established is correlation, but just because there's a correlation doesn't mean there's a causation, right? And causation is what he needs to establish. So, for example, imagine if I say that every time I wake up, I see that sunlight is outside, right? Now, does it mean that because I wake up, that's why there's sunlight outside, or is it because this is the time the sun rises, that's why there's sunlight outside, right?
Yes,
so simply based on correlation, you cannot say that this is what caused it, right?
Yeah,
it's fallacious. You need to establish that this is the causal link using logic or using reasoning. But he didn't do any of that. He just said, "Oh, there's a correlation. Look at that."
Yeah, exactly.
So I ignored the fact that these are actually poor families, because the thing is, oftentimes when this type of marriages happen, they get married at a very young age because of poverty. But we have no data in regards to how it affects richer families or who have good access to care, who are treated well. Another thing is that he talks about prenatal health care. And for this, we need to go to another study. Now, there's a paper that shows that there's a strong correlation between poverty and pregnancy or health of pregnant women. For example, in this study, it says the following: poverty, pregnancy, birth outcomes, a study of the earned income tax credit. Says the following: economic interventions are increasingly recognized as a mechanism for... so basically what the study did is try to look at, does increasing someone's household income affects the prenatal health, or basically the mother's health, especially young mother's health in regards to their children? Does it improve their health? The result they got, we find that the household income or EITC payment size are associated with improvements in several indicators of prenatal health. Meaning, mother's health improved as the income improved. Okay, which means if you can reduce poverty, you can reduce this effect of bad health of mothers and their and children, right? So again, this goes back to being tied with nutrition. Many of these countries don't have access to good nutrition, don't have good access to healthcare or education. That is a very important factor he completely ignores. He completely ignores it. And this is why I know this guy is disingenuous, because he knows this is a very important factor.
Bereaves young girls of their childhood by overburdening them with domestic responsibility, motherhood, and sexual relations, rather than allowing them to play with friends or go to school.
So I don't
Yeah.
know what point
on
he
a-
thinks he's
yeah.
trying to make by saying that, oh, they're
Yeah,
not allowed to
yeah.
play with their friends, so they're going to be unhappy.
Well, on a more
Also, by
serious
the way,
note, I think
you can still play with your
yeah,
friend. Aisha
yeah,
did like play with her friends, like even
yeah.
when
That's
after
right.
she was
That's
married.
right. Yes, exactly,
And
exactly.
I know people. I had friends in college who actually
Yeah.
were studying with us who were already married,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I mean, they were already married in high
yeah,
school, and they were just fine. They were doing not perfectly fine. They're completely healthy. They're very
yeah,
happy. They didn't seem like
yeah,
abnormal to us, and they
yeah,
didn't have any health related problems. They're happily married, right? So I don't know, like
yeah.
a very stupid point.
The study continues and says that child mothers are physiologically and psychologically not prepared for childbirth. Maternal morbidity and mortality.
Okay. Let's pause it right there. The study that he cites, right?
Mhm.
The study itself says that the food that the mothers give to their children is not good. Okay, so here it says, as far as feeding is concerned, infants born to a woman with CM or minor marriage were found to be
Yes.
less extensively breastfed, as well as fed with poor quality complementary food. Yeah, that's because one
Yeah.
reason could be easily because they don't have access to good food, right? They're
Exactly.
suffering from nutrition, and it literally
That's
says
right.
they're fed with poor quality complementary food. So they don't have
Exactly.
access to good food. And even World Health Organization says there's a strong correlation between poverty or lack of income and mother's health or child health. So here it says women in low income countries have a higher lifetime risk of death of maternal death. Low income countries.
Yeah.
A woman's lifetime risk of maternal health is possibility that a 50-year-old woman will eventually die from maternal causes. In high-income countries, that is only in 1 in 5,300 versus 1 in 49 in low-income countries. So the ratio is very low, especially when it comes to teen mothers. The ratio of their death is very low
Yeah.
compared to low-income countries, where the ratio is very
Yeah.
high. It's
Yes.
49 in 1, where it's 1 in only 5,300.
Yeah.
And this shows like this is because of low income.
Yeah.
It's very little to
Yeah.
do with marriage itself. So here he basically commits the oversimplified cause fallacy. So this fallacy is known as oversimplified cause fallacy.
Yep. Yep. I see it.
So
Yeah.
basically, the
Yeah.
idea here is that when you have a multiple variation, that can be the cause of something, and you ignore all the variation and only show one variation that kind of like agrees with your viewpoint.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
a
Exactly.
causal thing.
Exactly. Mhm.
This becomes fallacious. It doesn't follow. Here, this study was published in National Library of Medicine. The study title is Poverty, Urban, Rural Classification, and the term infant mortality, population-based mortality. So I think this is something he mentions, infant mortality. So this study looks at the infant mortality in poor countries. It says the unadjusted odds of term infant mortality increased with increasing poverty. Again saying the same thing. All these different studies all saying the same thing, that when you increase poverty, it increases mortality, child mortality, right?
That's right.
With the
That's right.
births in medium poverty countries having 1.4 times, and births in high poverty continues having 1.8 times.
That's right.
So countries that have high poverty are higher in terms of child mortality or child death than countries in low poverty. The odds of infant mortality than infants whose mothers live in low poverty continues. Poorer the family are, the chances of that family having health complications in terms of the mother and their babies is higher,
Yeah.
much higher than
Yeah.
high income countries.
I think
having
someone
their-
is mentioning the hadith of Aisha playing with dolls. Here, I have a doll. I'm a 40-year-old man. I'm playing with dolls. Okay. Does that mean I'm a child?
and this is
That's okay.
established in multiple different research papers that I just cited.
In 2007, the United Nations Children Fund reported that a girl under 15 is 5 times more likely to die during pregnancy and childbirth than a woman in her 20s.
Okay, I think, hold on, 51. Okay, actually,
Another paper pointed out that girls under 18 are more likely to die from childbirth and debilitating illnesses.
so basically the study he's citing is an opinion piece. It's not a research paper. Okay, let me pull up the study. So yeah, this is the paper he's citing, and this is just written by one person. It's just written by one person. It's not a proper academic study. It's not peer reviewed. It's just an opinion piece. So
Okay,
basically,
alright,
her
alright, okay.
argument is like girls under 15 are more likely to die during childbirth, but I found no evidence for this. right? So basically she cites, I think, one other study, but there's nothing there that indicates that this is the true. I mean, they don't cite any evidences, or at least I didn't find any.
Right. In Mali, the maternal mortality rate for girls 15 to 19 is 178 per 100,000 of live birth. And that is not just because of poor health care, because in the same country, the maternal mortality rate for girls, for women, that is only 32 per 100,000.
Okay, so this is something I need to explain a bit. So hold on. Okay, so this is the study he cites. So he basically cites this thing. It says in Mali, for example, the maternal mortality ratio for MMR for women aged 50 to 19 is 178 per 100,000 births, compared to the MMR of only 32 for women aged 20 to 34. So basically, the claim they're making here is that when it comes to maternal mortality or mother's health or mother's death, it's a lot higher for younger mothers than it's higher than for older mothers. But then again, there's a problem with this. This study I couldn't find anywhere. See this one. So this is basically like opinion piece, and I couldn't find any evidence for this. But so I looked at this study and I found a later study which actually contradicts what this says. So let's take a look at that. So this is the background. This is the latest study that came out in, I believe, 2021. So it's much recent, and that one is from 2002. So it says the following: Mali has a very high maternal mortality rate, 562 women dying 100,000 births. And this extreme high mortality rate is due to, in part, of long-standing constants in maternal health. Now, do you notice this number? It says that 562 women died, right? Now let's adjust this number with the numbers we have from his study. His study only shows that there are 210 women died per 100,000. But this study is saying there are like 500 women that died per 100,000. Now, these 210 women are basically women that are minors, right? So what about the rest of the women? Like, where did they go? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Which means that this rest of the women, which is like the number of like, I don't know, like 352 women, which is minusing all the reported study of the adult or 20 to 35 and like the minor marriages, you still have 352 women. So where did they come from? What happened to them? I'm guessing that these are women that are way over 35. Right? These are women over 35. Because if this was really the case that these are even younger, this study would have mentioned it, but it doesn't. So these are possibly women over 35. If that is the case, then that means you have more older women death in terms of maternal death than younger women death.
Than young women,
Yeah. And if that's the case, then his argument completely collapses. This shows that older women is, when it comes to maternal death, older women has more death than younger women. If the study is accurate and the number has not changed, which is unlikely. It is also talking about maternal mortality in the United States. The increase from 2020 to 2021 for all race and Hispanic origin group were significant. Rates increased with maternal age. Rates in 2021 were 20 deaths per 100,000, live births for women under the age 25, 31 for those aged 25 to 39, and 138 for those aged 40 and over. 40 and over. So if anyone wants to come here and say that, oh, I'm just kind of like cherry picking data, this research paper also says the same thing, which confirms my theory, which is that women over 40 are dying more from maternal health issues, even in America. So then why doesn't, if this is really the case that, young marriage is problematic because, you have some death from the younger demographic, then why isn't it also problematic when the same thing happens to older women, right? And also, by the way, this is not the case of that, I'm doing some kind of water butchering, right? Because the thing is that when you have a theory, that theory has to be consistent. His theory is not consistent because he doesn't have an issue with older women being married, 35-year-old being married. He doesn't have an issue with that, or even 40-year-old being married. And yet you see the same kind of complications, even worse kind of complications. So it's completely inconsistent. He's committing the fallacy of inconsistency. His argument is not consistent. His theory is not consistent. This one. So he's quoting data points, points in data points, without explaining the context, and he's only accepting evidences that agrees with his worldview and completely ignoring other evidences that contradicts his worldview.
Go for the same groups. The rates are 286 and 39. And the reason for these high numbers is because they're more likely to suffer from eclampsia, postpartum hemorrhage, and obstructed labor.
Okay. Let's stop right there. So he lies about a bunch of things. So he says that, young mothers can face this type of complications in pregnancy. Not all young mothers, some of them. So let's take a look at who else faces this kind of complications, right? Because if he's saying that these young mothers' marriage or young people's marriage should be banned because of these kind of complications, then you also have to ban a whole list of other people because they also suffer from these complications, which again goes back to the same problem of naturalistic fallacy. So this is the thing that he mentions. Eclampsia. This is what he says. Who is at risk for eclampsia? Let's see what eclampsia is. So eclampsia is a severe complication in preeclampsia. It's a rare but serious condition where high blood pressure is related. Seizure during rare condition.
Yeah.
So what is it exactly? And who is at risk for eclampsia? Other risk factors for developing eclampsia during pregnancy include gestational or chronic hypersensation or high blood pressure. So according to Micheal, if you have a high blood pressure, you cannot get married. You can never get married if you have a high blood pressure.
What the hell is this?
Anyone who has a gas or chronic hypersensation, they cannot get married. Being older than 35, again, older than 35 is again coming back again. But 35 or younger than 20 years old cannot get married. Pregnancy with twins or people who are pregnant with twins should abort their babies. They cannot get married. And first time pregnancies, nobody can get married then.
Nobody should get married because pregnancy is dangerous and can kill you. It's harmful.
First time pregnancy, which means that you can get pregnant. You cannot have children because you can have this problem, eclampsia. Diabetes are another condition that affects your blood vessel. So if you have diabetes, you can get married. If you have kidney diseases, you cannot get married.
Yo, morons out there.
It's just absurd.
My God.
So, for example, this study shows that, so PPH, result. So PPH occurs post, PP, basically they're talking about hemorrhage. Hemorrhage occurred in 95 women. This happened in Tibet with an incidence of 1.98%. The following factors are associated with high risk for PPH, maternal age, 35. So if you're over 35, your risk is higher. See this? So basically what they did, they went in Tibet in the hospitals. They went through all the different records to compile a more meta-analysis, analytical study. This is what they found, which is that women over 35 are more likely to get this kind of conditions. He also talks about malaria.
No.
What does malaria has to do with young marriages? I don't get it. Even if you live to 100, you can still get malaria, okay?
The point he makes is that, so basically, their 15-year-olds are more likely to get malaria, which can affect pregnancies and whatnot. So how is malaria transmitted? So let's look at that. Usually people get malaria by bitten by an effective female mosquito. So anyone who's been bitten by a mosquito shouldn't be married.
Is life worth living? Should I blast myself?
So, bro.
So a mosquito would avoid an adult, right? It will only bite young children. Is that what he's saying? Oh my God. Okay, that's really
anyone
stupid,
in the
man.
chat, if you guys been bitten by mosquito, forget marriage.
Yeah. Oh my God, it really made my day, Aki. It really made my day. Oh my God.
This is what I'm talking about. His argument is so stupid. It's based on a fallacious premise, like fallacious conclusion. Like you cannot take an is and derive an ought.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, I'm spoiling your stream. I'm sorry, I'm laughing too hard. Oh my God. Okay. Okay, and let's continue.
When I was going through it, like I just realized how dumb this guy was being, and just like, I didn't realize how stupid this is until now. Okay, so he says that women at the age of 15 are more likely to get obstructed labor. which is true, but that's not the only group of people that has this risk of this type of diseases.
Oh
Okay,
my
so
God.
the risk of obstetrical labor in groups, most of 50 to 19-year-olds, so it's at the a percentage of 43%, significantly higher than that of reference group of 20 to 29. However, a null porous woman, and women who have given birth once before, have an even higher number, which is 50 to 53%. Now, if you look at what this word means, null porous, basically means women who have never faced pregnancy. Yeah, null porous refers to a female of reproductive age who has never had a live delivery. Meaning, these are first-time mothers. So, according to him, first-time mothers are then no one can have children, right? I mean, like if first-time mothers has faces these things, and it's actually higher for them to get this, then no one can get married. Anyone who has a wife and they're trying to conceive, forget it, divorce. Don't have a child. It can lead
Yeah,
to
because it's
pregnant women.
dangerous. Yeah, because it's dangerous and leads to pregnant complications and can kill your wife. So don't get married ever. Okay, you're killing your wife.
Don't get married. If you're married, divorce, and
Or even if
and
you're
like,
married, or even if you're married, don't have S forever. Just leave
don't
your
have ass and don't have kids.
don't have kids. All right, don't have S. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
So basically, what it says then, an null-porous woman and a woman who had given birth once. So if you only have one child, you can never have more than one child. Before had 50 to 53% higher statistic significance or obstetrical labor that the reference particle do for. While it's for multiporous woman, the risk was 30%, which is a little lower than the reference group. So so I think we have firmly established exactly what's the problem with this argument. And I hope you guys were able to see that. I know it took me a while to get to the main point, but the point here is that you cannot drive an ought from is. It doesn't work like that. And an is doesn't tell us what to do in regards to anything. Because the thing is that what drives human beings is whether they want something or not. So if a young person wants to get married because they're attracted to someone or they feel they're fall into sin, then they should have the right to get married, knowing full well that there are some risks, but that's fine. There are risks in many different factors of life.
There's always going to be a risk in any decision that we make. Okay, even if you get a job, there's a risk. Even if you're driving, you're going to get a risk. Even if you're getting your wife pregnant, it's also a risk. Even if you're drinking Coke, there's also a risk. Okay,
and even if you're really worried about it, then Islam doesn't say you have to do it, right?
Exactly.
But if you really want to do it, the Islam gives you the option to do it. That's it. I haven't done live in quite a while.
Thank you everyone for joining. Those of you
for sticking with us. We got a lot of viewers, alhamdulillah. So I hope you guys subscribe to the channel as well. Also subscribe to Brother Brother MENJ's channel and my channel as well.
This one.
And if you like the content, inshallah, more will come. I will do another live stream next week, inshallah. And I'll see you guys later. And thank you guys for watching. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.